Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you guys so much for joining. It's Tuesday, and it's the last Tuesday before your wonderful encounter at the Vortex in Sedona. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. See how many complete sentences I can give you guys this episode.
Oh man, I bet you're amped up.
I am. I'm leaving tomorrow, so I'm just like finishing packing my suitcase today and stuff, and yeah, just kind of super excited. What do you even say, right? So this is my first like big trip really that I've been wanting to do, that I finally got my passport for, that I finally like did all these things. So it's really exciting. It's the first adventure of many to come. So that's what's really exciting. But it's going to be, the landscape is going to be so completely different than anything I've, experienced before, right? It's where I'm living now. It doesn't look anything like Arizona. So yeah, I'm really excited. I was looking at pictures the other day and I'm like, wow, where's like Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner? I'm gonna be like running around looking for them. But
Yeah.
it's like going to Mars, like looks like a totally different planet. It really does. And I'm just, so psyched to be with my friends and to experience that, like to share that energy with a circle of friends that is like on that level with me, like you don't this is the fun thing, I think, guys. It's been so alienating for so long, um experiencing these things and feeling and thinking the way that we do, and to suddenly start to get to experience these kind of adventures with those of like mind,
Yeah.
when we've felt like black sheep or whatever for so long. That's just going to be really great, and I know it's going to magnify everything too. And I just really feel like the beginning of this year, the first 3 months, just coming out here, being really quiet and having this time was a really good healing time for me that I needed more than I realized. It's always the way. And I've really I feel like I've really cleared that now, and like laid that foundation, that space, that new space. Like I've had time to solidify that new space, that new foundation, and heal all of the past stuff. So it's really created a great launching pad to now leap forward from. And I know that's part of like to even go to a vortex. It's funny, the metaphors and everything, but I think it's really, for me at this time, and probably many of us at this time, are experiencing it in different ways, different stories, but in a lot of ways, the same kind of experiences, of being at this new platform, this new foundation, and had the time to level up and adjust to the level up, and now it's time to try out those new feet, and really launch yourself and work from that, and experience what it's like to be within your community and friends and such of like understanding and sharing those experiences together. Like that's going to magnify everything so much. I don't think we realize. I think it's going to really catapult things for the summer. I know we have um, when the lunar calendar, Luna has talked about it, lots of other people talked, when we shift in right at the beginning of the summer, going into what would be not a Gregorian calendar, but the lunar calendar, the Mayan calendar. And we're really moving into a new era. And I think there's a good possibility that we're going to experience this wave event energy noticeably at that time. I've been hesitant to bring this up for a little while. Like we really kind of, laid back on it. And even last week when we talked, what would you say to those people who said, oh, you guys are still talking about this or whatever? Well, it is a work in progress, but I think for all of those of us who receive information in a variety of ways, um, there's so much there that keeps telling me, and I know telling others, that there is a moment, there is an apex moment where you'll feel it. I know I've dreamt about it several times, and I just I think it's important to share it again,
Mm-hmm.
because there'll be that moment where you feel it. You feel the energy and you're like, what's going on? Is this, you'll literally start to buzz and hum through your whole body, and it will just start to pick up. And I know we experience that sometimes now, and we're like, what's, is that it? But this will be a moment where it's like, is that it? But it just keeps building and it just keeps building until you be like, look, you'll be looking to see like what is going on. Um, and that information has come to me in a variety of ways again this week, in being reminded. And I'm seeing it come up. There's a lot of, I know, BQH sessions this week. So that's come up again. And I really think there's a good possibility that it looks like that a window of experience between, um, the beginning of July and into September, like by September, sort of 11th. Um, and yeah, so I'm hopeful and I'm excited, but yeah, I know even if it's all percent, it's all the odds are, right?
The
Because we're still
probability, yeah.
probabilities, but the probabilities are good. And I know I watched a video for Michael from Transformotion just put out yesterday. If you guys want to check it out, he just put it out. It's from a BQH session, very, very interesting. And he talked about that. That information was brought up as well, being between that window and that gateway, and it was about 75% on a conservative estimate for probability that was given within the BQH session, um, from a
So what
very
kind of?
interesting reading. Mm-hmm.
I have to check that out for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so I'll have to check it out.
Yeah,
Um, so symptom wise, what kind of symptoms have you had? Because I've had a rough week with headaches and
yeah. The head
dizziness
pressure,
and.
the head pressure, and the ear popping again. There was about twice this week where it was bad for a couple 2 days, and then it started to ease off, and then it picked up again over the weekend again. So, um, I found. So where are we now? Right. I found. It did pick up again the 19th, the 20th, the 21st, and the 22nd can always be are typically high energy days for me, where it can really impact. It can wipe me out, make me tired. Did wake up with the headaches again. I'm trying to remember which day it was, whether it was the 19th or the 20th. Um, but yeah, it's like, did I drink tequila last night again? Like, there's no rhyme or reason for it. But it did coincide with the Schumann spikes, which I think we did see that again around the 19th, which was near a 24-hour period. It wasn't what we saw in February and March, which I was kind of waiting to see. Is it going to repeat itself again as far as that exact 24-hour run of full blast, um, on Russian time, 17th, from the 19th hour to the 19th. We didn't see it again, but I think we did see the full blast was located, I think, about the 18th or the 19th on the Schumann. Um, and it did run approximately there. You can see the similarity, but not quite to the same level or
Mm,
exact match like February and March were. But those those Schumann spikes are definitely coinciding with intense dreams, often headaches. Um, I'll It'll hit me sometimes that like when the energy hits, it really picks up. The pressure in my head is really increasing. I very unusual feelings in the back, all in the back here, and in the ear area.
mhm,
That's been really picking up. But when that happens, I'll also feel like an ache in the joints and the bones, kind of fluey symptoms a little
mhm.
bit. without being like out and out sick at all, but just feeling that general ache, malaise within the body at times. But it, if you take care of yourself, it recuperates. So it's not a virus. It's not like a flu virus where you're stuck like that for 2 weeks. Because I find if I just take the rest, and if I'm really sore, really achy like that,
Hmm.
um, that's where the salt bath really does help relieve that ache out. Just that little bit of extra time, and then I bounce back. Or I can bounce back within the same day, but it can
Mm.
start off the day feeling like I'm getting the flu. So
It is a little bit like that, or like what you mentioned earlier, like you drank a bunch the night before and you've got a hangover, and it's just you just
yeah,
feel
you're just
groggy, a headache. You just really
maybe a little
just don't feel great.
irritable,
Yeah,
just like, yeah, it's just like sounds, too much stimulation or sounds, right? Um, and then yeah, and especially if it's been really intense dreaming, like if it's been really intense, vivid dreaming, waking up, and it's like there's so much brain activity going on that my
yeah,
that's when I get the headaches, and just achiness, like feeling swellingness all around the base of my skull, like actual
yeah.
swelling, lumpy. The shape of my skull, I brought it up maybe 6 months ago for the first time to say one of those things. Okay, guys, it's really weird, but I promised myself I would share. Right? But absolutely pronounced now. Bumps, the shape of my skull. I can sometimes feel like overnight there's differences in the general shape. It's lumpy. Feel like I got lumpy skull now. I don't know. Yeah, just swells in certain areas. And the last few months like I found last year for me was the left side. It was all the left side that got worked on. And now this year, like the past 6 months, it's all being this side.
Wow.
And yeah, and it's just literally this side of my head feels different than this side of my head. Like it feels swollen, it feels squishy. It feels like, and then my ear, like I'll get the ring. I always get the ringing in both ears. It's constant, multiple tones. Um, so, but that'll pick up too. Like the ear ticking will get intense again with the ear, but actual ear popping, like the pressure so much. I mean, it might depend more on where we live, the location or the altitude that we're at as far as experiencing that. But um, it's been really a lot, the pressure in the ears, not just the ringing, but the pressure in the
Yeah.
eardrums.
I actually got into migraine territory where sounds, like you were saying, were bothersome. Light, the light was really bothersome. I just wanted
Yeah,
to lay down, and
and the eyes, are your eyes at all like flashing
I've had
images,
the.
like light, like what maybe what they would call, what was it, a silent
Hip.
headache,
Oh, right.
right? With I mentioned before, I find that like flashes and weird things a lot of time when my head's feeling like that, when it's really thick, it's like
Yeah. And
vibrating,
it's been going through the
tired.
house too. That's why, everybody's thinking, oh, it must be some kind of flu going around. I don't really know. It's just,
No, it's just experiencing like it's literally in the air, guys.
yeah,
Mr. MBB has put out a couple videos now of people catching these lights in the sky, but it's not just the lights, there's static, like these moving particles that we mentioned before all through. All right. What are they? It's literally in the air, getting charged with these blasts. It makes you woozy. It really does. Like I get woozy, dizzy, and I could be perfectly fine, but then it'll just kick in, and there's multiple symptoms now. It's not just one thing.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah,
So
dizziness, and I've even had a few. Well, I mentioned before that I was having a few of the feelings of just really strong nostalgic feelings, but I've
yes.
also had some moments where it's like, just like, I don't know, just like I skipped a frame or something weird happened
Yeah.
lately. Have you had anything weird like that going on? It's like,
Yeah.
was that a
Yeah.
shift? What was that? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was
Like
that glitch in the Matrix? That's what it
yeah,
feels like. It feels like a
you know,
glitch in the Matrix.
you've
Like,
edited videos. You've edited
yeah,
videos. So I think you can understand this. If it's like if you had a video clip and you just click blocked like a second out of it and
Yeah,
then
like
put
a
it
few
back
frame.
together.
Yeah, and you got this.
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
slippage.
yeah, that's what it's like. So you've
Yep,
had that feeling too, that
yep,
skipping frames.
yep. Skipping frames. The other really interesting sensation I had a couple times now, waking up in the middle of the night. I've been active dreaming and waking up, and I've had to go to the bathroom. I have to go downstairs. Um, and I'm kind of walking in the dark, and I have the strangest sensation that I'm not using my eyes. I'm not using my eyeballs. Just
Right,
I've got this whole area gets all tingly and activated, and it's like thrumming, right? And it like thrums back, like back and forth from front to back. Um, and it's like I can feel all this tingly sensation up in my forehead. And being in this half a like sleep state still, and
yeah.
it was dark, and I realized I didn't know if I was seeing I realized it was dark, but I felt like I was seeing. It was something that I noticed that was unusual, and then it was a couple days later that actually my mom brought it. I'd never mentioned it to her, and she brought it up on her own about lying in bed and feeling like it didn't matter if her eyes were open or closed, that she was able to see things anyways. So that's why I wanted to mention it, because I had that confirmation from her. So I did, experience it myself, and then she mentioned it too. So I thought that was interesting, but it really felt like such a sensation across the forehead. And it felt it felt like there's connections like to your eyes that go to your brain, right? There's your eyeballs, and then there's a connection that goes. But it felt like now there's a connection that goes from here, joins the same, like so, right? Joins together and then goes to the, so like you could be using this or you could be using your eyeballs. It's processing the information through the visual, so you can choose. It felt like I could choose which. And it was an actual physical sensation, which was what was interesting.
That's
Mm-hmm.
so funny that you said that because I started doing that a while back during meditation where you know how you can do that finger trick where you put fingers over your eyes and you can shift your focus between one eye to the other, or your attention, I should say, and see what the one eye is being blocked by purposely switching your attention to the other eye to see
Yeah.
what the part you're missing. Or you can try to
Yep.
take it both in at the same time. But just that very act of switching, consciously switching from one eye to the other when your eyes are closed and you're meditating, I found that I try to shift it to my third eye. So
That's
I,
it exactly.
yeah,
I think anybody who's been practicing their meditation regularly
yeah.
and feeling where that consciousness is located, like literally when it rolls back up higher, when it
Mm-hmm.
goes to your heart, when it's heart centered, I find getting more familiar with moving around. And I found that there was a flick, that there's like a flick, but like you would from one eye to the other. But
Right.
you can put that attention up there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally, yeah.
Hmm.
And I think when you do that, you start noticing things you didn't notice before. Kind of
Hmm.
like we do with our other eyes, you know, you just don't notice some things. We don't notice a lot, actually. But
Yeah.
just the very act of purposely shifting your attention up there.
I
And
find
do we do that? Like, you know, when somebody's thinking, like, well, and then they're kind of looking around, are they looking with the mind's eye at that point? You know? Just,
Well, I think I'm really, that's an interesting thing since I've had this experience and thinking on it, and with further meditation and everything, and I'm becoming aware of, by continuously holding a meditative state through the day, which is just really simply being aware of your breath constantly throughout, is
mm-hmm.
you just constantly check in. Um I'm realizing these sensations. So the sensation, like you said, from going one eye to the other, or to this third eye, right? I'm realizing that when I'm present in within my field of energy and awareness, um, that I am using this. I like feeling the use of it, like you're using your eyes. You know, like when you use yours, you get a strain. You can get a strain to your eyes when you're viewing something,
Yeah.
right? Especially you put on new glasses and you're getting used to using them and you can get that eye strain. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
feel like. It feels like eye
Mm.
strain, but for the third eye, right? And I can feel the strain, I feel that it's using those muscles, um, and the subtlety of it. I'm noticing the overlay difference between a simultaneous vision with my sight overlaid with this more expansive vision. It's like almost like putting a fisheye lens over on top of your regular vision. So there is a broader conscious awareness of what you are seeing. You will pick up things much more quickly, patterns, a variety of things. I think it's taking in the information and processing it, because there's something very fisheye about it in this overlay, that there's a layered awareness that we're now aware of, right? I think the layered awareness was there, but whether or not what we were aware of it and actually used it was a different matter. Mm-hmm.
That's I've been looking at this telepathy 101 help guide or whatever. It's the one I talked about doing a video on, but it actually talks about using your peripheral vision a lot and not to like so much depend on looking over at something, to just observe, because sometimes you'll pick things up with your peripheral vision that if you look directly that way you won't see it. And I think a lot
Yeah,
of us have seen orbs and things like that, but we're quick to try to look at it, instead of just
that's
observing it.
it.
Yeah.
But I think with the practice of meditation, it gets you used to being the observer without doing the reacting that pulls you out of the being the witness, right?
Being on that
S-
frequency you need to be at, right?
yes. So you're sitting back, you can sit back and view through that fisheye lens.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you're not reacting the same way. Where your eyes jumping around to this thing, like the pinpoint focus, you're you're able to expand that focus.
That makes sense, because it's like you're pulling yourself back into from alpha to back to beta, because you're starting to be more aware of what's going on. I
Mhm.
think that's why they say to close your eyes when you meditate, because it's like you immediately go into alpha just from closing your eyes. It drops your.
Yeah, but I'm reminded of a conversation that we had, I don't know, a month or so ago. Um, it's just popped into my head, which is about. Sorry, I know I wrote. Sorry, guys, but this is right. Attention. So focus. Is attention a limited resource? Because we work on this in this 3D level, like through using this vision, as your attention is a limited resource. So therefore your mind has to be somewhat biased in processing, immediately discards information, because the idea is you have only so much attention to spend. So your mind has to choose what is going to focus on, but then you can miss a lot of details, right? But we've been working under that limited attention as a resource. And what it a big part of this switch is having abundant attention. In
Mm.
in that now all of a sudden we will be working within a realm where attention is not limited by any means whatsoever. It's completely abundant.
So do you
So
hear that, you guys? Because we were just talking about this not too long ago, and people in the chat were like, "I've been able to do all sorts of multitasking lately, doing three different things at once, where I normally can't do that." And that's sort of leading, putting credence to what you're saying, because if you only have so much to spend, but now you've got more and more of it to spend, then now you can do more. It's like adding RAM to your computer. You can handle
yeah.
more at one time,
And
so
I,
to
I
speak.
think that when we're tapping in to viewing from that perspective, feeling that view, feeling that view, you're tapping into your attention, your ability to, you know, you're tapping into that and now experiencing it as an abundant thing. It's not limited. That's how you can experience it. It's completely open.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that's a big part of this shift, the change in how we're experiencing it. So again, that's why meditation is a great that just your breathing and focusing in and feeling your energy within your body, feel where it moves around, um, and playing with it just gets you so familiar with these changes. So as we experience these shifts and changes with our ability, allows you to really be able to understand and fine tune. We're like little tuning dials. We're realizing, and we're getting these new tuners, and you really want to play with them. And so what does this feel like? Let's turn it up, and because essentially that's what we're going to be doing, a different way to function and actually move through the world, move through the reality that we're within and experiencing. We're going to be tuning dials. Not It's not just a physical, I pick this up and I put it there.
Right.
Uh, it's a different way to function within reality.
And I think it's a matter of, if you think about like adding to our attention alone, that expanded attention would change things so greatly. You know what I mean? Can you imagine just that alone? How much more you'd be able to do if you were able to
Yeah, I don't have
be,
time for that is no longer, you don't. Yeah, that's,
yeah.
and I think that's where later time will dissipate too, right?
And it
Um,
will also allow us to be in the moment more because, when you're not
yeah,
in the moment, it's because your attention gets pulled away to something.
it's like a fountain. You'll be like a fountain, just welling up with whatever it is you want to flow and bring up and bubble up and experience within that moment, and it's just a flow within you like a fountain. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and unlimited. It doesn't wane. You're not going to run out of water. It's just this abundant flow. And if you want to blast the flow, you can. If you want to just trickle for a little while, you can. But it'll be that kind of experience. And that's where it's an abundance from within.
Mm-hmm.
And these are great visuals as well to use to move that energy, to create that experience, to bring in this event. You want to be feeling that welling up of being that fountain now,
Yeah.
because that's what unfolds it. So,
And to be aware of the distractions as well, because I think one of the things that I got this picture in my mind of sort of these strings resonating like on an instrument, and you're talking about tuning in and strumming even louder and brighter if you want, but the cares of the world, all the chaos out there, is what dampens our strings and silences it. And I think it's more important than ever not to get caught up.
yes,
And I know there's a lot going on, and I'm not saying
we
not to have
really got to
compassion.
tune it out though. This is really, what, if anything, when I said there's like 75% chance or whatever on the probability of the event, what can stop is focusing on the negative, as
Yeah.
opposed to focusing on being that welling fountain. That's
And I'm
the
the same
only
way
thing that
because
can stop it.
you feel compassionate about others and things like that. But once you realize that you actually are more helpful, not getting pulled into that, and to sort
Yes.
of support from a distance, the love, the peace, and all of this, because there's so many
Mhm.
energies going around that needs to be counteracted at this time as well. A
Yeah.
lot of anger and
Yeah.
all
And we
sorts
can
of stuff. Yeah.
observe. We can observe. Absolutely. We are here. We're witnesses, and but we want to be masters in it and being able to observe and keep in mind the higher goal here, and not get distracted by some of the difficult things that are going to happen as things collapse and crumble. Um, but when a lot of people around you aren't going to see why, or see that there may be a benefit out of, or see the positive out of what's very difficult situations that may come up. But you want to hold the light throughout that,
Mm-hmm.
and carry it, and don't let the wind blow out your candle, and just and show people how to do that, where it's not a reactionary um emotional situation that is geared towards separation.
Exactly.
them against us,
And unless
me
you're boots
against
on the
you.
ground, if you're at the epicenter where things are happening, it's not much you're going to do by
Yeah.
sitting there and being pulled into it so deeply when you can pull back from it and keep shining the light at a time when we
Yeah.
really need it.
Just yeah, you know what? And focus on the fact that you're your own director of your film and what you want to view in your film. And just keep that in mind. Just keep it in mind. You know,
Yeah.
there's always outside storylines, in any movie, but how much they come into the main storyline and affect that character's journey is up to that character. So, um, yeah, just be aware of your own reel and what you want to play in that reel, and just embody it, because these things are going to happen no matter what. It's just part of it, but how we can express ourselves around that is what's really going to make the difference. Hmm.
I agree.
No matter
Yeah,
how
back to the
stupid some people seem.
back to the headaches though. I wanted to, because typically I'll try to keep an eye on the Schumann resonance when I'm getting a headache to see if it's kind of
Hmm.
going along with it, and it hasn't been. It's been sort of different. Let me see, share screen. But you were just pointing something out right before we went live about the strangeness of course, you can go to Mr. MBB 333, click on Schumann resonance on the right, and it will bring this up. But
Yeah,
this is strange here.
it is strange.
Okay, so here we have these pulsating. I didn't notice these until you pointed out. It looks like they're really faint over here, and they get
That's
stronger and
how it
stronger.
usually looks. Like on the beginning of the graph, that's
Yeah,
what
but
we
you can
usually
still
see.
see a little bit though.
You can see, yeah, and I mean it kicks in sometimes, but it's just such a
Yeah,
pattern, these little markings.
yeah, it gets over into this area, and it's like, and we still got that one that's hanging out here around 24 that
Mm-hmm.
we've been keeping an eye on.
Yeah, just tapping out some kind of rhythm on there. Oh, we had, see there, it got a little hitch there.
Skip,
It
yeah.
stopped and it skipped, but it was going steady like that for a little while, like before we talked. It
But
was,
look at this even. Look at
yeah,
how tight these are.
yeah,
Strange.
filling in the spaces.
Just makes you wonder. So
Well, like,
dreams been amping up, or
um, yeah, they have been, yeah, over the last week. They have been some great fun experiences again, but back to some more training too. Last week
okay.
we
I was
talked. I
wondering.
was I was relieved because I think I felt like I'd gone through about 3 solid weeks of intense training and dreams that just didn't let up, right? And then it was like I got a week out to play for recess. And then it went back into class again. So I did have, again, what seems to be a constant theme when I'm getting these teaching dreams is a lot of times now, it's all about showing me what is going to happen within the physical form or within characters or stories, but when the energy comes in, it's this is really becoming a common theme now. Uh, those previous 3 weeks, a lot of it was like about characters and archetypes and a dream reality, being an architect in dreams, learning about that. And then it brought, then at the end, what it finished off with was information about seeing the energy come in, looking at myself outside of myself, looking at a variety of people, but seeing how it different people differently and seeing how it affected myself in particular. And I saw all these amber crystals, and this was mostly within the brain area, and that when the energy came in, these crystals just went just became, came exploded and just came alive and swirling around everywhere, just like those static we see on the MBB videos that I mentioned, like moving around like that, like whew.
Mm-hmm.
um so this seems to be a common theme now again that's coming up, is showing me overlays of like, okay, this is a person, then boom, you go like deep inside the person, so now it's within. And the image that I was given a couple of days ago is a little different, but it was again just another way that the energy activates and changes on, like
Mm-hmm.
on a microscopic level.
All right.
And instead of being like little round crystals this time, they weren't. They were like, I I tried to draw it out. Let's see. They were like little fibers or hairs or something
Mm-hmm.
like this. It showed me like a whole bunch of these flecks, and that when the energy came in, like they're all sort of laying down.
Mm-hmm.
But when the energy came in, they had these little things they pivoted on the bottom. But when the energy came in, they all like stood up.
They were like balancing on those little tips at the bottom.
Well, they were all loose, like it like microscopic things,
Mm-hmm.
but they seemed to have some appendage from the bottom of it, and then it was kind of like a little like hair, like that, or something like a this. That was the shape of it. It
Right.
was like a little, but there was a little doohickey off the bottom. I don't know what that was, and they were kind of like floating around a little bit, and then but when the energy came in, they all went. So I thought about it afterwards. What I realized it reminded me of, if you've ever seen metal shavings with the magnet, you'd play with that when you're a kid. Um,
That's exactly what I was imagining. How it looks like little
the
hairs.
magnetics,
Yeah.
that's what it, so that I'm like, that's what it really, because I wasn't sure what I was looking at. I really had to process this after when I woke up the next day and trying to figure out what it meant. But um, that's what I got was that the idea of those metal shavings. So I think it's got to do with the magnetics, the change in the magnetics. Um, and I really got the impression that like these things were like little rudders. It was like on little
Mm.
rudders, and it was like by changing your field and your own magnetics, you have almost like these rudders all within your field. And I think that this is the one of the things that will allow us to move around in different ways. Um, and it has something to do with the magnetics, the magnetic field, and that tuning, that idea of tuning, by like tuning or moving these rudders, the energy.
Yeah.
Because I got the images of a plane too, like a plane flying, and they've got the rudder off the back for the wing flaps and the rudder off the back, like that kind of movement. That's what it was showing me. So it was a combination of reminding me of like magnetic shavings. So it was like being full of magnetic shavings, but not magnetic shavings.
Right. Right. Right.
and and that they and with the energy, and they were like these little flaps, like these little rudders, and that we had control of that too, though. But when the energy comes in, it like activates them all. But that's the idea. That yeah. So I wanted to share that with you you guys,
Show
because it was
that
a
picture
different
one more
idea.
time. Here, let me see. Because I see it. Yeah, Sherry's saying jalapenos.
Yes. A bunch of upside down jalapenos. I know, it was just like a feel of it. It was like, so it was like, see, I'm looking at this, like seeing me sitting there, and then all of a sudden, boom, I go like into myself,
I can totally see it. Yeah.
right? And then I'm seeing like this field of these just like swimming around, and then the energy comes in, and they all just and they all come alive. So this theme of repeatedly seeing different ways that the energy is affect, like when the big blast too comes in, like how it will actually physically affect us from within. This is a repetitive thing that is coming up, and that's why I do believe, I have good feelings about what's to come for this summer, and what we may experience. Because if I look at my whole training process within dreams and the tutorials I get and the information I get, um, it's really boiling back down to like, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is how you're going to experience it. But kind of like full circle, like back 2 years ago, right? It started telling me, you're going to experience this. You're going to experience this. And then all this, training and learning about what reality is, my place in reality and the dream reality, and all this training and dreams now has come back full circle to say, okay, we're going to get nitty gritty now. We're going to go deep within your body, your physical, and say, okay, this is what's going to happen. So you know what's going to happen and what's getting activated. And at the same time, I think when being shown these dreams and shown these images, we also sort of get those things turned on, like prep ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's ready to go on standby. So there's no blockages there for that at that point. So I'm really feeling like that information I anticipate is going to continue to come up. I'm curious what's going to come up when I go to Sedona and experience that level of energy and probably have some new messages come in. But a lot of ways, I think that is prep work for what's going to come in the summer and the energy that's going to come in then too. And I think it's a really important aspect to bringing that in. So I expect further activations. I truly do.
Well, don't you find it to be kind of odd or just strange how much you can, because going back to the question that we were talking about in the beginning of, why are you guys still talking about this? Nothing's happening and all this stuff. And I think it's strange that how much you can ignore how much is happening all around.
You
And then how
can.
much, when you start looking into it, things become apparent to you.
Yeah,
But it's sort of like the shift of your awareness.
it
I know
really
it's
is.
expanding your awareness, but
Yeah.
it really is because it's like the more you look, because I've tried to do it time and time again with synchronicities. I try to prove them wrong or that, they just happen more and more the more you start looking for them and you're like, this is just weird. And it's the same way with all of this stuff.
Yeah.
If you're looking for it
If you
and
ask the
expecting it, you can
questions,
see it. Yeah.
you'll get the answer.
Yeah.
You'll get the answer. Whether or not you're going to want to listen to the answer, that's up to you. But if you ask, you will get the answer. Um, but yeah, I think some people do choose to tune that out. It's not an easy thing, to function within a certain. Well, this is how the world works. This is
I, th-
how things work.
I think a lot of it comes down to expectations. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if it doesn't
Yeah.
meet your expectations, even if it falls a little short, it's still like, well,
Yeah.
that's not what I was expecting. But nobody
Yeah.
knows. So how can you have any expectations that's rock solid expectations where you're like, well, I know it's going to happen this way because so
Yeah.
and so said it or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. To be the kid who at Christmas cried because they got the white iPad instead of the black one. Give me that.
But I think there is a level of, sort of letting go of the expectations and just
Yeah.
wait and wonder and awe and because you can see things are happening, you can see things are unfolding. It might not be as fast as everyone likes, but progress is being made, and I feel like it's easily seen if you look for it. But you can
Yeah.
easily ignore it as well.
You can, and that's just your free choice. So, um, for me, it's a very real experience, and it's a physical experience, and it touches me in so many aspects in my life, um, that I feel very immersed in it. But that's my experience. I share my stories with those who are immersing themselves in that experience too, or may understand that or want to understand more about that and what is happening and what they're feeling. But some people are just going to choose to not.
But don't you think? I mean, and that's of course their free will or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
don't you feel like anyone who has the desire can?
Yes,
I mean, it's like
absolutely.
no one's limited here. It's like
No.
it's almost like you have to choose to see it. Knock, and the door will be open to you.
Yep.
Seek, and you will find these things. It's like
Yep. And you know what? Listen, it can be a really hard thing to answer with yourself honestly, like really honestly, about why you're not experiencing in your life that you want to experience. Because guaranteed the reason is within you, not somebody else. So um it's a big part of it. It's like somebody who eats McDonald's every single day and then says woe is me when they get diabetes. Like, I don't know. That might sound a little harsh, but I just find a lot of stories that people tell themselves about the reason of why they are not experiencing something or anything in life, um, is often not accompanied with personal accountability for
but
choosing what they want to experience.
and the funny thing is you said that and I was sitting there and I was imagining both ends of the spectrum. It's all within you. You can do all this yourself, and I can see some people saying, "Oh my God, this is horrible. I was expecting someone to show up and Bing do this, and this is going to happen. It's all going to be automatic." And I think a
Yeah.
lot of things are automatic, but on the opposite end of that, you've got people that are like, really, I don't have to depend on anybody else. I can do this myself. There's nothing holding me back,
Yeah.
and that's really the honest truth. Whatever
Yeah.
you believe is what you're gonna,
Yes.
manifest.
Well, that's it. So what else can you say? What else?
But
What
that's
else can you
great
say?
news if you can get beyond the fact that you're like nothing's holding me back other than me. That's awesome news because
Yeah.
no one can stop you. You know.
Yeah. Just remember, every time you say "but," that's your butt. Let's see. Let's see. You know. Yeah, but um, you know, it's not an easy road to choose. It isn't. And making any of these big life decisions towards expansion or getting to know yourself better, it often requires very honest and large shifts of what we choose to focus and put our energy into, our lifestyle, like how we choose to live, and those can be huge foundational shifts. It's not an easy thing. Um, so yeah, and it doesn't happen overnight either. That's a big thing. You can't make big changes like this like you're just, you know, I mean, it happens, sure, sometimes to people, and there has certainly been times through this process where I literally have woken up or maybe had a healing session or some kind of event like that really did, give a big shift. But it really, in essence, has always been me putting that one drop in the bucket every single time. Like, from I started those buckets 2 years ago with every single breath that I took in meditation, understanding that it doesn't happen. It's not achieved with the next drop in the bucket. It's just drip, 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 drip. Um, and that takes patience and time. But if you stay with that, like anything, even like practicing piano right now, just the fact that I'm doing it every single day while being able to accelerate so much faster because muscle memory kicks in, all those things, because I'm doing it every single. So are you doing it every single day? Is it worth it to you to do it every single day? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. But if you want to experience something and you're, wondering why or why not, you may or may not, just what is your intention every single day? What are you putting your attention, your energy into? What are the beliefs that you're carrying consistently every single day? Are you reaffirming your belief system
This sounds like
to
we're
yourself
leading
within?
up to
Mm-hmm.
a product that we have to sell or something. But honestly, guys, it's within you.
Did somebody
It's like
say
we
that?
don't.
What are you selling?
No. I'm just sitting here thinking. I'm like, it sounds like we're leading up to, But really, honestly,
Yeah,
you won't get that most places.
in a bottle. You don't
Everything
need
you
to work on
have,
it
you
anymore.
already
You can
have
just,
it.
yeah, you can just take this product, right? Well,
Just
but
take
you know
this
what? We're so
pill.
used to hearing that, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You just take a pill and magically it's done for you. These energy waves that are coming in are doing massive amounts for us, but we really got to put the gloves on and take on the challenge ourselves. In mastery, that's what mastery of anything is even through the boring, I'm not getting anywhere, this isn't working, it seems like a failure. Like artists experience this too. You practice the same thing, and at first you suck at it, but you just keep hammering away at it every single day. You just keep doing it, and that's what really it, you can't fail. You cannot fail. You cannot fail. And these waves are coming in that are absolutely accelerating us. But that's the difference between grabbing your surfboard, right? You're just sitting and just watching the waves, or grabbing your surfboard and saying, I'm going to master this shift, right?
You
I
got
am
me.
going to master this.
You got me on that one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny though. Yeah. Let's see. Affirm it. Affirm it. Yes. Ah, looks like you got Steven too. Okay. And by the way, Sherry was just joking about the jalapeno. I'm assuming you know she was joking.
Sure.
She's always worried about
I worry too much,
somebody
Sherry.
taking pictures.
This cookie's got a tough chin. Yeah, Sherry's the last person. No, no. Yeah.
So as we move on in here, are you going to? You ought to try to check in while you're there. Maybe just. I don't
Just,
know.
um,
We'll have to see what your
yeah.
service
I
is like.
just, yeah, like
That'd be cool.
I'll be lucky to remember my own name while I'm away. I'll just be like, like,
So
oh,
what day do you get there actually? Friday?
Thursday. So I'm leaving tomorrow to take the train and stay at my daughter's. I'll be closer to the airport, so I can catch my flight early in the morning Thursday.
So your first night there in Sedona will be
Thursday night.
Friday. Thursday
Thursday
night.
night. Yes.
Okay, so Friday night.
So I have tonight's sleep and tomorrow's sleep, and then I'm getting up early and I'm getting on the airplane. And that's it. 2 sleeps,
Oh my gosh,
counting
yeah,
sleeps.
that's wild.
Yeah.
And your gosh, your hours are gonna be all jacked up like mine were. Because right
Hmm.
now it's 3-2-1 here. That's so funny. I'm looking at
Yeah.
it.
4:21. Well, it's only an hour difference, so that's it. That's okay, right?
Well,
It's a
there it's
3 hour
gonna
flight, but
be. Yeah, but you're gonna have. Yeah, because for me right now in Sedona it would be 1:21.
really?
Yeah, they're in California time right now.
Oh.
Yeah, they don't observe daylight saving. So
Well, I get
until
there at 11 a.m. Thursday,
okay,
but
so
Sedona time. I get
right, okay,
there
so that would
Sedona
be
time,
like
11 a.m.
4. That'd be
Hmm?
like 3 or 4 your time or something. What time is it there right now?
It's
1:21.
4:21. I'm
1:21.
only an hour ahead of you.
Yeah, so you're 3 hours. So if you get there at 11 something their time, it's gonna feel like 2 o'clock your time because you're Eastern right now.
Right. Right. I'm gonna be so jacked up though.
You're gonna be on the plane 3 hours longer than you're thinking. I
With
think.
my like, am I really?
I
How long does it take to drive? It's 3,000. It's 3,000 kilometers.
don't know.
2.2 kilometers. And
Anyway, I was just gonna say if
anyways,
Friday night, if you want to call in, you and
oh my
Travis and
gosh, should I
everything,
call in?
you should call in at least
Yeah,
and just let us know your first impressions. I won't keep you long.
that would be funny. Okay,
Just
I'll
check in
try to do
five,
that.
ten minutes
Travis
even.
is listening and Renee's
And
listening.
Travis will be there. So
And
and
though,
Renee
and
will be
yeah,
there.
and Romania will be there. So try to help me remember, guys. We'll see. Yeah, see if we can do that. So I know we'll be out hiking
Yeah, I know you'll be busy,
Friday.
but
So,
if you
but we should be able to do that. We might be back in at that time. Who knows? I have no idea.
oh my gosh. Yeah, we would get
Yeah.
done hiking and I'd get back, I don't know, 6 or 7 and like conk out right away. It was like I was just
I
so
know.
worn out from.
Especially after getting in the sun, and it's gonna be like hot there. It's gonna be like 29 degrees or whatever and sunny after being here in the winter and getting the sun and the fresh air. I'm just gonna be a
It's gonna
zombie.
feel
I'll
like a
sleep
different
it.
world, I promise you
It
that.
really is. It really is. I know. Just wish I was seeing you, but that's okay. August. We have
We
August.
still got August.
Yeah.
And they are making progress on the schedule for ECETI.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Ooh, goody.
the very next weekend we'll
Have
be
you
able to
picked a
start booking
weekend?
stuff.
Have you picked
Well,
an actual time for it?
first or second weekend is what he said. They're both open, so we could pick either one. But at the rate that they're adding dates onto the calendar, I'm probably going to go with the first one because it's going to be up sooner, and I can actually start booking
Cool.
and sending people there because I'm not going to handle it. They'll just do everything.
Do you have an idea of how many days? Like, is it just a weekend that you're going to be going there?
Yeah, it will be like Friday, Saturday, Sunday type of a. I think you can get there on Thursday and then leave
Right.
on Monday or Tuesday, something like that.
Right. Okay. I want to, because it's like a lot, like camping out there, sort of. Like, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, it's camping.
yeah.
It's a campground. It's pretty cheap too.
Yeah,
Like
I
I know
might see
that.
if I might stay longer myself. I might, because if I'm going to fly all the way down there and everything, I'd like to stay, I think, for a little longer than that. So, yeah. So I don't know if I can camp out, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, you got to get transportation from the airport to the event, which
That's true. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah. Or
know if
maybe I'll go visiting.
maybe they'll
Maybe I'll
have
go
like some kind
visiting.
of have to look into it. Maybe they have some kind of shuttle or something because there's going to be a
Hmm.
lot of people that need to. And then I don't
Hmm.
know about bringing camping gear and all that stuff. If
Yeah,
you
I
go
don't
flying.
know. I can't. No, I couldn't do that. So I don't know. I just want to go for a little bit longer and be out in the woods for a little bit longer. So Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be nice. I don't know. Maybe I'll get a friend down there. Go camping with her.
Well, awesome. I guess we can wrap this one up. See anybody in the chat?
Oh,
Oh yeah, not so fancy Nancy, be there? Yeah, I will let you guys know about ECETI, I promise. I've been keeping an eye on it, and they got the ball rolling and getting stuff done. So as soon as I have the date, you guys, I promise I will not stop talking about it. You'll be tired of hearing me talk about it. Okay,
oh,
so
I
lots of love to
lost
you
you.
guys.
I lost
Oh,
you.
oh,
Yeah, you totally disappeared.
I was
It
just,
looks like I'm getting a thunderstorm coming in.
perfect timing.
Oh, mm-hmm.
All right, love you guys. Thank you, Michelle. Love you. Thanks for being here with me.
Love you. I'll see you guys in a couple weeks, in 2 weeks. But
Yeah,
I'll try to call in on the Friday, and yeah,
yeah. After your
I'll give lots of
transformation.
pictures. Yep, it'll be fun, and I'll tell you all about it in 2 weeks. So we'll get
Awesome.
some pictures and everything. Okay.
Sounds wonderful.
Thanks,
Peace, you
guys.
guys. If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.